Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for clicking on this video. I hope you like what you see and decide to stay and stick around and join us and have some fun and subscribe. Go ahead and click that button. You know you want to. Just click it. Just click it. Just boop. And turn on all notifications. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to tell y'all about when the US Marshals came and got me. I don't know how else to put it. They came and got me. So, I told y'all about how, and I'll link it above and below if you haven't seen it. I told y'all about how, you know, I got arrested and went to jail, did all that, went to court, got 5 years probation. So this is about 6 months after that. So I had been on probation for about 6 months, and I was at this sober living house. I was working, and it was like, I want to say like maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe 6:30, something like that. And I was getting ready to go to work, and my cell phone rings, and it's my mom, and she's like, the US Marshals just left our house and they're coming over there to get you. And I'm like, you know, pooping in my pants, like, I'm sorry, what? What, huh? What, huh? Okay, so that. And so she's like, yeah, she's like, they came to our house and, like, you know, searched our house top to bottom, like thinking I was hiding there or something. I don't know. I didn't even know that there was like an arrest warrant out for me at this time. And they went to my grandma's house, y'all, and searched her house from top to bottom. And I had no idea this was going on. And so the US Marshal told my mom, like, do not call her and let her know, or there's going to be consequences. And she's like, then arrest me, because I'm not going to let y'all, you know, go over there and scare all the girls in that house. And yeah, she was not having that. She was like, no, you're not going to do that. She has been there for 6 months. I don't know where y'all been looking, what you've been doing, but she's been right there for 6 months. So she called to let me know, and I'm like, thank you for letting me know, because I probably would have had a heart attack or threw up or passed out, or all three, if they just would have showed up. So I was like, all right, let me go get my stuff together. So, and I was dating Gavin at this time too. And he was so freaked out. He was like, oh, what's going on? Oh, you know, oh my God. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know why. I don't know what's going on. Like, I literally had no idea. Like, I had already been to court. I was on probation. I had no idea what was going on. Not a clue. Not a single clue as to what was going on. So I called and I let him know, and I put my phone away. I put, you know, my purse away. Like, I got my ID and anything that, like, I needed, that I knew I needed. They show up about, I don't know, 15 minutes later, and you know, they got a skirt up in there with like 20 cars. Is that necessary? Is that really necessary? Y'all. So anyway, they show up, and it's crazy because they have this piece of paper, like, with my face on it, like with my driver's license on it. And I had a friend at the sober living house, and we did kind of look alike. Her name was Lauren. And so they went to her, and I was like, no, it's me that you're looking for. And they were like surprised that I wasn't like trying to run. And I'm like, I don't know why you're here, but I mean, I'm the person that you're looking for. So, like, you know, the rest of them left, and like 4 of them stayed. I think it was 4. Was it 4 or 3? Might have been 3. Yeah, I think it was 3 because it was an SUV and there was 2 in the front and 1 in the back with me. So they put me in handcuffs and they put me in the back of the SUV, and I'm like, you know, somebody want to tell me what's going on? Like, I don't know, maybe why you're here, what I did, something, like, because I'm really kind of freaking out right now. So what had happened was, and I mentioned this in my other video, the doctor that I worked for, whose prescription pad I took, like that I had always brought home with me, and I decided it was going to be a good idea to write my own prescriptions. Lord have mercy, if I could go back. Anyway, she was friends with the district attorney in Baton Rouge, who was Hiller Moore. And she made like a big old fuss and a big, you know, to-do, and was like, no, I want her arrested. And the DA was like, she's already like on probation. She's already gotten this and this, you know, in another parish. And she's like, no, I want her arrested again in this parish, in East Baton Rouge parish. So that's what it was for. It was for the prescription pad, not for prescriptions. So it was, I think the charge was possession of stolen property. I think that's what it was, possession of stolen property. And I'm like, oh, good Lord. So the US Marshals take me to the Livingston Parish jail, where I sat for 2.5 months before I went to rehab into the sober living house. They took me back there. Right, we're gonna take you here. It's the closest one, and then somebody from, you know, some officers from East Baton Rouge are gonna come and pick you up later on today. And I'm like, so now I'm freaking out because I have this great job, you know, that I had just gotten, because you can still get really good jobs when you're a felon, believe it or not. Y'all don't be out there thinking you can't get a job when you have a felony, because you can. But I had just started this job. I was a chemist, and I had started the job, I don't know, probably 2 weeks before, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get fired. I'm gonna get fired. I found this great job that I loved it, because it wasn't like rotating 12-hour shifts like chemists normally do, like in a plant. This was in a lab, and it was from 8 to 4:30, so it was perfect. Oh, I loved it. Anyway, and my boss was awesome. Shout out to Adam. Hey Adam, I know you watching because I emailed you and told you to watch. Anyway, I'm an idiot, okay? So anyway, I think somebody called and told my boss that I had like a traffic ticket or something that I needed to take care of. Like, they didn't tell him what was really going on. And I worked at that company until they closed, they shut down. And it's so funny because he and I got to be good friends, and I'm very open about my past. And so I talked to him about it, and he was like, I knew the whole time. And I'm like, why didn't you say something? You know, like, I'm not shy about talking about, obviously I'm not shy at all, but I'm not shy about talking about it. And he's like, I just didn't, like, he's like, I just didn't want to bring it up. Like, I knew you were getting your life together, so I just didn't want to bring it up. And I was like, oh Lord, I thought I was going to lose my job when I went to jail for that. Oh. And he was like, no. So anyway, thanks, Adam. Okay, so I go to the Livingston Parish jail. They don't even keep me in a holding cell. They're just like straight to the back. East Baton Rouge will be here when they get here, and I'm like, thank you, Lord, I'm gonna be in here for another 2 months. It's horrible. So I go to the back, and they put me in the same dorm that I was in before, which I think was like I said, I think it was A1. I think that was the one that's for like 30 and up. And this is, I'm not sure if this is embarrassing or flattering, but it's probably embarrassing. But as soon as I got into the dorm, I heard, Tennessee, Tennessee, come here. Hey, girl, come here. Look, you want a coat? Girl, I got you. It's cold in here. You want a sweatshirt? Here, I got an extra sweatshirt for you. I got this, I got this. And so, because some of the people that I had been in there with were still in there. So, that made it a little better. You know, it made it no, nothing makes it better. But it was easier, I guess, to know what to expect as opposed to going to jail for the first time, like I did in the other story I told you about. So I was there for probably 14 hours. Yeah, so I ended up, because it's freezing in there, so I ended up, you know, like huddling up in a sweatshirt and just laid like on a bunk and just talked to one of the ladies that was in there. She was an older lady that was in there for, you know, she had a couple of DUIs, and she was just real sweet lady. So I just laid on the bunk, because it was like I was on the bunk like right next to hers, and she was on the bottom and I was on the bottom. So we were just like laying on our pillows talking to each other, and all of a sudden I hear them call my name. So I'm like, oh Lord. So I, you know, give her stuff back and tell everybody bye and go get processed out of that jail. And it was crazy, because when I went to, it was 2 younger detectives that came and picked me up, and they didn't pick me up in a police car. They picked me up in their personal car. He had, like, I think it was a Nissan Maxima. I was like, is this a police car? And he was like, no. He's like, this is just my car. He's like, we're just gonna, you know, ride around for a little bit. And I'm like, they gonna try to get me to snitch on somebody. And I'm like, we not doing that. Just bring me where I got to go. I'm ready to get this crap over with. Because at the time, my parents knew that I was not doing anything wrong. I was not like getting I didn't reoffend. There was nothing like that going on. Like, I was on the path to getting my life back right. And they knew that. So, you know, when I had talked to my mom, she was like, call me when you know what your bond is and we'll come and get you. And I was like, oh, thank God. So I was like, like I didn't trust it. I was like, no. And he's like, have you ever been to East Baton Parish Prison? And I'm like, I don't even know where it's at. And he's like, you don't really need to be in there. And I was like, oh, that bad. I said, I thought y'all was just gonna try to drive me around, like ask me some questions about other people. And he's like, no. He's like, no, we're not doing that. He said and that's when, you know, he was telling me about, like, this is not even something we wanted to do. Like, that's why we're just, you know, like, why it's casual, why you're not in handcuffs, why you're just sitting in the back seat of like a regular car. He's like, we know that you've already, you know, been sentenced to probation. We know that you're at the sober living house. We know that you have a job. We know that you're doing good. And he said the district attorney doesn't even want to prosecute this. Like, he does not want to do this. And he didn't want to do it so bad that he wouldn't make it a felony. So it was a misdemeanor. Oh, they went through all this y'all for a misdemeanor. So anyway, so they drove around, like went drive through, got some drinks, and you know, they were just talking about just current events and stuff like that. They didn't ask me questions. They didn't do any of that. They were totally cool. They took me back to like their precinct. They took me to wherever they work, and in their office, like, and so they were just like, if you want to just hang out, he's like, I know you don't have your phone to play on, he said, but there's a landline if you want to call your mom and tell her what's going on. So I called my mom, I called Gavin, I called my friend Lauren, and he's like, we're just trying to like prolong it as long as possible, because that's not a place that you want to be in. The East Baton Rouge Parish Prison, like that's you don't want to be in there. So I was like, well, I mean, I guess that's good, but like, wouldn't it be quicker if I just was like processed in and like processed out? And he was like, no, because you have to wait until the morning to see the judge to get your bond. And I was like, okay. So this is probably maybe 11 or 12. It was like midnight probably when we were at their, I guess it's their precinct. I don't know like cop terms, so I guess I know jail terms, but I don't know cop terms. So I guess that's where it was, you know, where their office was. So we just hung out and just, you know, had another Coke. And so I'd say probably around 2 or 3 a.m. they're like, you ready? They're like, cause you know, you're gonna have to go through booking and like do your mug shot and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, by then, you know, they start taking you to see the judge around like 7 a.m. He's like, so you won't have to stay there very long. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they take me to, they take me to East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. They weren't kidding. They were not kidding. I don't know if anybody in Baton Rouge is watching this right now, but if you are, let me know if you've been there before. Let me know if you know what the pink room is. So they dropped me off and I'm kind of like, no, don't let me do. Anyway, so I go to booking and they do my fingerprints and my mug shot and all that kind of stuff. And the guy doing the mug shots was, you know, kind of shooting it with me, and he's just like, what are you doing here? He's like, you're not drunk, you're not, you know, what are you doing here? And I'm like, why does everybody keep saying that? Why, you know, like, why does everybody keep telling me like I don't need to be in here? And he's like, you ain't never been here before? And I'm like, no. So, oh Lord. So he's like, well, until I get somebody else that I have, like, you know, that I have to fingerprint and mugshot and all that, he was like, you can just hang out here and talk to me. And I'm like thinking, is it that bad? Is it that bad? So now I was getting terrified to have to go, like, and I'm thinking, Lord have mercy, I'm gonna get shanked, I'm gonna die in here. I'm gonna die in here for a misdemeanor. That's what I was thinking. Cause they done filled my head so full of like, what are you doing here? And I'm thinking like, what is, I couldn't figure out like, huh? Anyway. So he ended up having to get somebody else that he had to fingerprint and mugshot and all that. So I had to go back. And I could not believe how bad this jail was. Like, let me just, it made me so angry at the conditions they had these people in. And it made me really, it was sad at the condition of where these people were. Because in the holding cells, of course, are up front, and there's like this enclosed, it's literally like a walk-up cashier stand kind of a situation. And so you go there, and that's where you get your like paperwork and your wristband. And y'all, while I'm standing at this cashier stand situation thing, right behind me, into both sides of me, and on the other side of this cashier stand situation thing, I don't even know what to call it. Can y'all hear her grunting? Okay, so let me explain the conditions of this place. So there's probably one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cells. And this isn't pods like the first one. This is actual like jail cells, like with the, you know, the bars where people are like hanging on to them from the inside, like that kind. And they were probably maybe 10 by 10, and they had 40, 50 people in one cell. Because it was just the holding cell. Like, this wasn't like, which does not, that still makes me like so angry at the conditions of that. Oh, it was bad. So they don't like stay there for a long time. It's a holding cell, so you either bond out or you go to the back. This was just the holding cell, like I said. Okay, so there's 40, 50 guys hanging on to the bars, like climbing them, you know, and they're like, hey little snow bunny, hey girl, you want to be my girlfriend? And I'm just like, this is horrifying. Why would they have women inmates even anywhere near that situation? So I'm having to like ignore that while I'm getting my wristband and getting, you know, my paperwork and stuff like that. And so all of the cells are like that. And when I'm not kidding when I tell you that they're literally like, you know, bang, like on the jail cells and like climbing them. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And there's nowhere for them to, there's one toilet in there for all of those people. There's not enough room for them to all sit down. It just makes me mad. But it was horrifying as well when you have to walk by that and they're screaming at you. So I just had to ignore that, you know. There was one holding cell for women, just one, and the walls are painted pink. And next to the women, there's a holding cell for gay men. So it's like women are at the very, like they're at the very end by the exit door to go like to the back of the prison. So that's where the women are, and it's a pink cell, and there's like it's a pay phone in there, but you don't have to pay. Like, you can literally call as many people as you want, as many times as you want. So, you know, of course, I called Gavin a bunch of times. I called my mom a bunch of times, all that. So I was in the holding cell for probably, I mean, we're talking, I got there like 2 a.m. I was probably in the holding cell till like 5 a.m. And every time they would transport men, and like I said, the women's holding cell is right by the exit door to go to the back of the prison. So like if you're not bonding out, you're going to the back. I don't know who set this jail up, but they didn't think this out very well. So I would say every, I don't know, 20 minutes, you'd have a line of men lined up at the exit door, just lined up. So they're all screaming at you every 20 minutes, screaming at you. Hey girl, can I get your number? Oh God. And y'all, by this time, I mean, we talking about I have been up for like over 24. I'm tired. I ain't in the mood for it. So I don't know why they didn't just leave me in the damn holding cell until, you know, you had to go see the judge. But they took me to the back, and when I tell you that's a walk, good Lord have mercy, that place must be huge, because you gotta walk a damn mile just to get back to the back cells. And those are dorm like. Those are dorm like. They do have like the bars, but you know, it slams behind you, and then it's just like bunks and tables, and they've got, like I said, they got shower curtains on the showers. I had mentioned in the other video. They have like a partition in front of the toilet, so it's still not private, but it's not open like it is in Livingston. So I'm like, oh gosh, does this mean I'm gonna be in here for a long time? Since they sent me to the back because they knew I was bonding out, but I hadn't seen the judge yet. So I'm like, good Lord. And everybody's sleeping at this time. They sleeping because it's early morning. So I go in there and I find a bunk, and I climb up on the top of the bunk, and I'm just like, oh. So I just lay my head down. I'm like, I'm just gonna lay here until they call me, I guess. And I must have fell asleep. Obviously I fell asleep, because I woke up to them like yelling my name, and I'm like, what, wait, what's going on, what? And they're like, they're waiting on you. Everybody's in the room for the bond hearings. They're waiting on you. And I'm like, I mean, am I just supposed to know when to go? Y'all supposed to come get me. So they brought me to the little room, and the judge is on the TV. Judge is like, this is your we'll just say $10,000. And I'm like, okay. So you have to wait for everybody that's in that room to, you know, go walk up, and then there's like a TV, you know, and you can see the judge on it, and the judge is like, these are your charges, you know, this is what I'm going to set your bond at. And you're just like, okay, and you go sit down. So you gotta wait for, like, I don't know, 20 people to do this. So after that, back to the holding cell I go, back to that pink room. Oh, and the food. Like I told y'all before, the food at Livingston wasn't bad. And I said it in the other video, and I'll say it again. Like, probably if I had to eat it now, I'd probably be like, this is disgusting. But yeah, I think anything had to be better than East Baton Rouge. So I'm in the holding cell, and they're like, you know, passing trays out for lunch or what, because it's lunchtime by this time. So it's like noon the next day. Y'all, we going on like 30 something hours, okay? We going on 30 something hours now. And I'm just sitting in that holding cell, and I'm waiting, 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 and I'm calling my mama, and I'm calling Gavin, and I'm calling my mama. Okay, like, apparently it takes a real long time to bond somebody out, because my dad came to bond me out. I finally got out of that damn jail at midnight, like, of that day. So I was there from 6 o'clock, what, no, yeah, because they came and got me at like 6:30 in the morning. I was there I was at Livingston, and they transferred me to East Baton Rouge. So it would be midnight on Friday, turning into Saturday, when I finally bonded out. It took forever. And one of the delays, my poor daddy. I love my dad. I'm a daddy's girl. Apparently when he went to bond me out, I had a ticket, like a traffic ticket, like a, I don't know, inspection sticker ticket or something that hadn't been paid. So he had to go back to the ATM and get more money, because you get to have cash. You can't just like bond somebody out with a debit card. So, Lord. So he had to pay for the traffic ticket and my bond. So when you bond out, they just let you out the side door, and you have to like walk along this long fence, and there's like a parking lot across the road after you walk. I want to say it's probably a good 700 yards that you have to walk away from, like down this fence, and then they let you out, boop, and then you walk across the road, and like I saw, you know, my dad's truck or whatever. Never been so glad to see somebody in my life. So I get in there, and I'm just like, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. So, you know, he didn't judge me. He did not. He didn't. Not at all. He was like, you hungry? And I was like, I'm starving. So he took me by Backyard Burger. I think it was Backyard Burger, because that was like on the way to, so we went through Backyard Burger. Y'all, this is like 1 o'clock in the morning now. By the time we drive back from Baton Rouge to bring me back to the sober living house, went by Backyard Burger. That was the best cheeseburger I've ever had in my life. So I finally get back to the sober living house, you know, and all the girls are like, oh my gosh, like what happened? Like we've been so worried, like we couldn't find out any information. Nobody would tell us anything at all. Oh my goodness, you know. So went through that, called Gavin. He was so relieved. And yeah, so that's how that happened. And what ended up happening with that is I went to court, and like I said, it was a misdemeanor. So they gave me a year probation, and I had to pay the doctor like $3,000. So they gave me a year to pay the $3,000, and I, of course, had to like stay out of trouble. But I was already on probation in, you know, another parish anyway. So I was like on probation, you know, in 2 parishes at the same time. So that was a lot. Thank God I had a good job, because that was a lot of money I was paying, because I had to pay, you know, that $3,000 plus both parishes' probation fees and court costs every month. So I was so glad when I went to court for the last time and I had paid everything, you know, and it had been that year or whatever. And I remember the assistant district attorney was like, I don't think she's paid all of it. I was like, excuse me? I got the receipt right here. I've paid every dime. And I think he was just being like a butthole, because he was like, oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. And I was like, so yeah, I think he just did that to be a butthole. And that was it. Done. Do they normally do probation for misdemeanors? I don't really know how that works. Trust me, I know how felonies work. Do I know how felonies work? You snoring? She's snoring. I know how felonies work. Let me know in the comments if y'all know how misdemeanors work. For some reason in my mind I was thinking like they just wrote you like a summons or something and you just had to pay some money, but that wasn't the case in my situation. So y'all let me know if you've had a misdemeanor, that is. If y'all aren't criminals. Or I mean if you're not criminals, you might know one, or you might be an attorney. So let me know, because I would like to know if that's common. And also, I know I say this at the end of every video, but I have literally started researching, and I have filmed a little bit of my very first true crime story. So hopefully, I'm hoping y'all love that, because when I started my channel, it was gonna be true crime and makeup. That's what it was gonna be. It was literally gonna be about true crime and makeup. Like, my husband was literally like, makeup and murder, that should be the title. And I was like, no, I just want it to be my name, and I'll just tell, you know, true crime story, because I'm literally like an encyclopedia of true crime, literally. And fun fact, Edmund Kemper, my favorite serial killer. If that's not weird to y'all to have a favorite serial killer, he's my favorite. Not for what he did, because what he did is pretty sick, but his interviews are fascinating. It's like he figured out what he was before they ever coined the term serial killer or psychopath, like he figured it out in his own head. If you listen to his interviews, I'm gonna stop rambling, but I just wanted to let y'all know, because I say it at the end of every video, I got a true crime one coming, because that's what I really wanted this to be about. And I'll have some more like jail stories for y'all, because I keep getting DMs about more jail stories. And which is awesome. Please keep DMing me, because I like getting like requests. I love that. I love when y'all interact with me. I love it. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, because you know I can keep talking to y'all forever if I don't go ahead and end it. So if there's a true crime story that you'd like to hear me tell, let me know in the comments or DM me. Either way. Or if there's something else that you want me to do, comment or DM me. Any of that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and when you subscribe, click that little bell right by the subscribe letters and click all, so you never miss a video. And y'all know I ain't gonna spam you with a bunch of videos. I'm like a once a weeker. So like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next video.